We are in book 16 of the Iliad. I call it the turning point because this is the point at which Patroclus enters the battle, distinguishes himself valiantly, kills the Trojan fighter Sarpedon, and then is in turn killed by Hector. And these are the events that bring Achilles back onto the field of battle. Now, the death of Sarpedon is, in a way, prefigures a lot of the other deaths that are to come. Sarpedon is the Trojan. Well, he comes from one of the allied cities of Troy. And he's the one who makes the first breach in the Greek wall. And Patroclus kills Sarpedon. And as Sarpedon is dying, there is a kind of a fight over Sarpedon's body. The Greeks would love to have it, but Zeus protects the body and spirits Sarpedon off to his home city where he's cremated there. Now, this kind of pattern where you have an important fighter killed by someone on the other side, then their armor is stripped, then there's a fierce fight over the body, then in the sense the gods intervene and rescue the body. This is going to happen now three times in the Iliad, and then a fourth time beyond the Iliad. So it happens to Sarpedon first, and then we see it happen almost identically, the same sequence for Patroclus when he's killed by Hector. Then we see the same thing happen when Hector is killed by Achilles. The fight over the body, as we'll see, King Priam essentially comes to plead for his son Hector's body, and is granted that plea by Achilles. So in that sense, Hector is returned to the Trojans. And then, of course, outside the Iliad and beyond the Iliad, but Homer's aware of it, and he's sort of, it continues to haunt the narrative, the death of Achilles. And Achilles' own body and the funeral for Achilles, which occurs, as I say, not in the Iliad, but beyond it. Now, remember that Patroclus has been warned by Achilles, fight the Trojans and push them back, but do not pursue them back to Troy. But Patroclus is doing so well in the fighting. This is Patroclus's aristeia, his kind of display of prowess, his glory, if you will, that he forgets, or he doesn't heed Achilles' advice. He pursues the Trojans back to the Trojan wall, and Apollo, the god Apollo, who's on the side of the Trojans, speaks aloud. Now, not doesn't speak to Patroclus so much, but speaks in the Iliad and says, get back, Patroclus, almost as if addressing Patroclus. Get back, Patroclus, back to where you belong, says Apollo. Troy is fated to fall, but not to you, nor even to Achilles, a better man by far. So Apollo is, again, now here reminding the audience, well, you know that Troy is going to fall. But is it going to fall to Patroclus? No, not even to Achilles. Yes, Achilles will kill Hector, but the battle's going to go on for one more year. In fact, it's going to take Odysseus and the Trojan horse to create the kind of cataclysmic final scenes in which Troy itself falls and Troy itself is sort of burned to the ground. Now, the way that Patroclus is killed is very interesting. He is speared in the belly by Hector, and he falls to the ground. But as he falls to the ground, a very interesting exchange occurs between Hector and Patroclus. Hector basically goes, Patroclus, the vultures will eat you on this very spot. So here is Hector taunting Patroclus and basically saying, you thought you could get us? Well, you didn't count on Hector. I have now gotten you, so to speak. I'm obviously speaking colloquially. But Patroclus now says this, it was fate who killed me. Of men, Euphorbus, you came in third at best. Kind of a strange thing for Patroclus to say, but we see what he means by it. What Patroclus is saying is that, and Homer tells us this in the moments leading up to this scene, that in the thick of the battle, Apollo, who is sort of fighting on the Trojan side, comes up behind Patroclus and basically punches him, hits him in the back between the shoulder blades. And Homer says Patroclus's helmet is dislodged and falls to the ground and, quote, rolls in the dust, that little detail. And it says that Hector grabs the helmet and pulls it away from Patroclus. And then his breastplate also splits loose from him. Now, when all this happens, a young fellow named Euphorbus, fighting on the Trojan side, jumps up in front of Patroclus and stabs him, spears him. And that's the first blow. So what Patroclus is saying to Hector is, you know what? You didn't kill me. First of all, Apollo got behind me and punched me. I lost my helmet. I lost my breastplate. Then this other kid, Euphorbus, came in and stabbed me. And then you were just number 3. Yeah, you did administer the coup de grace, so to speak, the final blow. But I'm not going to really be giving you credit. And then says Patroclus, you are not going to live long. I see death standing at your shoulder, and you will go down under the hands of Peleus's perfect son. Peleus's perfect son is Achilles. So here is Patroclus on his deathbed, prophesying the death of the man who killed him, namely the death of Hector.